The underestimated prey, the Crimson Sons of Kepler-4, fought to be cast long shadows across the mining colony's scattered buildings. Commander Alina Vasquez stood on the observation deck of Mining Station Alpha, watching the automated extractors work tirelessly on the planet's surface. The rhythmic hum of machinery had become a comforting sound over the past 3 years since humanity had established this remote outpost. "Another successful day, Commander," said mining foreman Jack Chen, approaching with his daily report. His weathered face showed the satisfaction of a man who took pride in honest work. The new quantum drill broke through another rich vein of trilithium. "We're ahead of schedule by 2 weeks. Alina nodded approvingly. This small colony of barely 300 humans had carved out a living in one of the galaxy's most remote sectors. They weren't soldiers or explorers seeking glory. They were miners, engineers, and technicians who had volunteered for a 5-year assignment to extract rare materials needed for humanity's expanding space program. "Any word from Earth Command?" Jack asked, settling into a chair beside the commander's desk. "Radio silence for the past month," Alina replied, though she didn't seem concerned. "Standard protocol for deep space operations. We're on our own out here, just the way we planned it." Neither human noticed the sleek shadow that passed across the twin suns high above their atmosphere, 3 light minutes away. War Chief Crixtal of the Zephyrian Empire studied the scanner readings aboard his flagship, the Crimson Talon. His reptilian features twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. The discovery had been almost too easy. "A human mining colony," reported his tactical officer, her scaled hands dancing over the control console. "Population approximately 300. Minimal defensive capabilities detected. A single orbital platform with outdated human technology." Crixtal's yellow eyes gleamed with predatory satisfaction. The Zephyrian Empire had been expanding aggressively for decades, conquering system after system. They had heard whispers about this new species called humans, but intelligence reports suggested they were weak, preferring negotiation over combat. Perfect prey for the Empire's war machine. "Humans," Crixtal hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air. "I've read the reports. They're scavengers and merchants, barely worthy of notice. This should be over quickly." His fleet consisted of 12 warships, each one a masterpiece of Zephyrian military engineering. Against a mining colony with minimal defenses, it was overwhelming force. The war chief had brought such a large fleet not out of necessity, but to ensure his warriors remained sharp. Easy conquests helped maintain morale between more challenging campaigns. "Shall we begin the attack, War Chief?" his second-in-command inquired. "No," Crixtal replied thoughtfully. "First, we offer them the chance to surrender. It's more sporting that way, and the Empire prefers to acquire useful slaves rather than corpses." Back on Kepler-4 for DB, the colony's long-range sensors finally detected the approaching Zephyrian fleet. Alarms began blaring throughout Mining Station Alpha, and Alina Vasquez's relaxed morning transformed into controlled chaos. 12 ships, Commander, reported communications specialist Sarah Kim from the main operations center. They're broadcasting on standard diplomatic frequencies. Elena's expression remained calm as she walked to the communications console. Jack Chen followed closely behind, his face showing the worry that Elena carefully kept hidden. The message from the Zephyrian fleet was exactly what she expected. "Human colony," came the harsh, translated voice of War Chief Crixtal. "You are now within Zephyrian territory. Surrender immediately and prepare for occupation. Your cooperation will ensure merciful treatment. You have 1 hour to respond." The operations center fell silent. 300 human miners and their families faced an enemy fleet that could reduce their colony to ash within minutes. Alina looked around at the faces of her people, seeing fear mixed with determination. "Options?" she asked her senior staff. "The orbital platform has enough firepower to maybe damage one of their ships before they destroy it," reported Chief Security Officer Marcus Webb. "Our shuttle fleet could evacuate maybe 50 people before they intercept us." "Not good enough," Alina said quietly. She activated the colony's internal communication system. "All personnel, this is Commander Vasquez. Report to designated emergency stations immediately. This is not a drill. Code 7 protocols are now in effect." Jack Chen raised an eyebrow. Code 7 wasn't in any of the standard emergency manuals he'd studied. But as the colony's residents began moving with surprising purpose and coordination, he realized there was much about this mining operation he hadn't been told. Alina opened a channel to the Zephyrian fleet. "War Chief Crystal, this is Commander Alina Vasquez of Mining Colony Alpha. We're just simple miners trying to make a living. We don't want any trouble." Her voice carried the perfect note of fear and desperation that Crystal expected from his prey. We need time to prepare our people for evacuation. Some of our families have children. Please, give us 12 hours to organize our surrender properly." Crystal laughed, a sound like grinding stones. Humans were even weaker than reported. 6 hours, human. Then my warriors claim your colony." As the communication ended, Elena's frightened demeanor vanished instantly. She turned to her staff with the cold efficiency of a seasoned military commander. "Phase 1 is complete. They think we're helpless civilians. Begin Phase 2 immediately." Jack Chen watched in amazement as the simple mining colony transformed around him. Equipment that he'd assumed was for or processing revealed hidden. Weapon systems. The mining tunnels he'd helped dig over the past 3 years suddenly made tactical sense as defensive positions. Personnel he'd known as engineers and geologists moved with military precision. "Commander," he said slowly, "what exactly is Mining Colony Alpha?" Alina smiled grimly. "A trap, Jack. We've been waiting 3 years for someone like the Zephyrians to find us." Throughout the colony, humans worked with practiced efficiency. The massive mining excavators weren't just for digging, or their industrial lasers could cut through ship hulls just as easily as rock. The ore processing facilities contained chemical compounds that, when properly mixed, created explosives powerful enough to crack a mountain. Most importantly, the extensive tunnel network that honeycombed the planet's surface wasn't random. Every passage, every chamber, every ventilation shaft had been carefully planned to create the perfect killing ground. The Zephyrians thought they were conquering a helpless mining colony. In reality, they were walking into humanity's most elaborate military trap. Sarah Alina called to the communications specialist. "Send the coded transmission to Earth Command. Tell them the Spider has visitors." "Signal sent, Commander," Sarah replied. "Though it'll take 6 months to reach Earth. That's fine. We won't need backup for this." As the Zephyrian fleet moved into optimal attack position, War Chief Crystal studied the human colony through his ship's advanced scanners. The settlement looked even more pathetic up close. Scattered buildings, primitive mining equipment, and not a single military installation visible. The orbital platform was laughably outdated, probably couldn't even penetrate modern Zephyrian shields. "War Chief," his tactical officer reported, We're detecting unusual electromagnetic signatures. From the planet's surface, the humans appear to be powering down their equipment. Preparing to surrender, Crystal observed with satisfaction. Begin the landing operation. Send the 3rd and 5th battalions to secure the main facility. Leave the humans' ships intact. We can use them for labor transports later. The Zephyrian assault ships descended through the planet's atmosphere like falling meteors. Each transport carried 50 heavily armed warriors, genetically engineered for combat and conquest. Against frightened human miners, they expected no resistance whatsoever. As the first Zephyrian boots touched the surface of Kepler-4 for to be, Alina Vasquez watched from her hidden command center 3 kilometers underground. Every movement of the enemy forces appeared on her tactical display, tracked by sensors disguised as geological monitoring equipment. They're deploying exactly as predicted, reported Marcus Webb, taking the bait perfectly. Remember, Alina addressed her team, these warriors have never faced humans in combat. They think they know what we are, but they've only heard stories. Today, they learn the truth. The Zephyrian forces advanced cautiously through the abandoned colony. Their thermal scanners showed life signs in the underground areas, which made perfect sense. The cowardly humans were hiding in their tunnels like the weak prey species they were. Deploy gas canisters in the tunnel entrances, ordered Battalion Commander Vextar. Force them out into the open where we can process them efficiently. But when the gas grenades exploded in the tunnel mouths, something unexpected happened. Instead of driving humans out, the chemical compounds mixed with substances already present in the air. The resulting reaction created a dense, metallic fog that completely blinded Zephyrian thermal sensors. What is this? Vextar hissed, watching his tactical display dissolve into static. That's when the mining equipment came alive. The massive excavator that had been sitting motionless near the colony's center suddenly roared to life. But instead of digging into the ground, its industrial laser array swiveled toward the Zephyrian positions. The beam that could cut through solid rock focused on the nearest assault transport, slicing through its armored hull like paper. More excavators emerged. From concealed positions, their mining lasers turning the landing zone into a deadly crossfire. Or crushers designed to pulverize rock-launched clouds of metallic fragments that shredded Zephyrian armor. Processing plants released chemical clouds that ate through enemy equipment like acid rain. In orbit, War Chief Crystal watched his invasion force disappear into chaos. What's happening down there? Report. The mining equipment, War Chief, came the panicked voice of Battalion Commander Vextar. It's been weaponized. The entire colony is a fortress. But the real surprise was yet to come. As Zephyrian forces tried to regroup, the ground beneath their feet began to collapse. The mining tunnels weren't random excavations, they were a carefully planned network of kill zones and escape routes. Humans emerged from hidden positions with weapons that looked crude but proved devastatingly effective. Alina Vasquez had spent 3 years studying Zephyrian military tactics, technology, and psychology. Every aspect of the colony had been designed to exploit their weaknesses. The reptilian warriors were used to straightforward combat against species that fought like they did. They had never encountered an enemy that turned an entire planet into a weapon. As the first phase of the battle raged above, Alina spoke quietly into her communicator. All units, Phase 2 is complete. Zephyrians are trapped in the killing ground. Begin Phase 3. High above the planet's surface, Captain Lisa Morrison of the UES Phantom Runner watched the battle through her ship's passive scanners. her vessel, had been hiding in the system's asteroid belt for the past 6 months, waiting for this exact moment. "Captain," reported her tactical officer, "the Zephyrian fleet is moving to support their ground forces. They're exactly where Commander Vasquez predicted they'd be." Lisa smiled coldly. "Then it's time to introduce ourselves. All hands, battle stations. Let's show these lizards what humans do to bullies." Asterisk when predators become prey. War Chief Crystal S. Confidence crumbled as reports flooded in from the planet's surface. His elite warriors, genetically engineered for conquest, were being systematically destroyed by what he'd assumed were helpless miners. The humans hadn't just prepared defenses, they'd turned their entire colony into an elaborate death trap. "War Chief," his communications officer called urgently, "we're receiving massive casualty reports. The 3rd Battalion is completely cut off, and the 5th is taking heavy losses. The humans aren't fighting like miners, they're moving with military precision." Through the bridge's main viewer, Crystal could see the hell his forces had walked into. What looked like simple mining equipment from orbit revealed itself as a sophisticated weapons system. Every building, every piece of machinery, every tunnel had been designed with one purpose: killing Zephyrian invaders. "How many humans are down there?" he demanded. "Intelligence still reports 300, War Chief, but they're fighting like 3,000. The entire planet appears to be rigged with traps and ambush points." On the surface, Elena Vasquez moved through the hidden command tunnels with deadly grace. The mining colony had taken 3 years to construct, but every day of that investment was paying off now. The Zephyrians had superior technology and numbers, but they were fighting on humanity's terms now. "Marcus, report." She spoke into her comm unit while reviewing tactical displays. "Enemy forces are scattered across 7 different kill zones." Chief Security Officer Marcus Webb replied from his position near the main facility. "They're trying to regroup, but every time they mass their forces, our automated systems hit them with another barrage. The excavator lasers are cutting their transports apart faster than they can retreat." Elena nodded with grim satisfaction. "What about their orbital support?" "That's the beautiful part, Commander. They can't fire on us without hitting their own forces. We're so mixed in with their positions that any bombardment would cause massive friendly fire casualties." This had been Elena's masterstroke. By allowing the Zephyrians to land and spread out across the colony, she'd made it impossible for their ships to provide effective support. The reptilian warriors were trapped in a maze of human-controlled territory, cut off from their technological advantages. In the deepest mining tunnel, a group of Zephyrian warriors huddled behind makeshift cover, trying to understand what had gone wrong. Squad leader Vexen had participated in dozens of conquests, but never encountered anything like this. "The humans knew we were coming," he hissed to his remaining soldiers. "Every move we make, they're ready for us. Every piece of their equipment has been modified into weapons." His observation was more accurate than he realized. Elena's team hadn't just prepared defensive positions, they'd studied Zephyrian psychology and tactics for 3 years. Every tunnel, every ambush point, every trap had been designed specifically to counter reptilian military doctrine. The Zephyrians fought like apex predators, using overwhelming force and direct confrontation to crush their enemies. But humans fought like something else entirely. They were patient, methodical, and willing to sacrifice short-term advantages for long-term victory. Where Zephyrians saw cowardice, humans saw tactical brilliance. Squad leader, one of his warriors, reported, Thermal sensors are detecting movement in the walls around us, but the readings don't make sense. It's like the tunnels themselves are alive. Daxan's blood ran cold. The human tunnel network wasn't just a hiding place. It was a living organism designed to digest invaders. As if responding to his realization, sections of the tunnel wall slid aside, revealing human soldiers armed with weapons that looked crude but proved devastatingly effective. The humans didn't attack immediately. They simply appeared, creating a perfect crossfire formation, and waited. Their discipline was terrifying. These weren't panicked miners defending their homes. They were predators who had lured prey into their hunting ground. Zephyrian warriors. Came a calm human voice over a portable speaker. You are surrounded and outnumbered. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to galactic prisoner of war conventions. Dexon laughed bitterly. Outnumbered? There are only 6 of you. The human soldier, who appeared to be their leader, smiled coldly. Look again. As if by magic, more humans materialized from concealment points that had been invisible moments. Before, they emerged from wall panels, floor hatches, and ceiling vents. Within seconds, 30 human soldiers surrounded the trapped Zephyrian squad, all armed and ready. Now you're outnumbered, the human leader observed. In orbit, War Chief Crystal faced an impossible decision. His ground forces were being eliminated, but every attempt to provide orbital support resulted in friendly fire incidents. The humans had positioned themselves so cleverly that any bombardment would kill more Zephyrians than enemies. War Chief, his tactical officer, reported with barely concealed panic. Long-range sensors are detecting an approaching vessel. Human design, but not matching any ship class in our databases. Impossible, Crystal snapped. Intelligence reports indicated humans have no military vessels in this sector. The UES Phantom Runner decloaked 300 kilometers off the Zephyrian fleet's port side, appearing like a ghost materializing from the void. Captain Lisa Morrison's ship was a marvel of human engineering, not the largest or most heavily armed vessel in the human fleet, but designed for exactly this type of operation. Zephyrian fleet, came Captain Morrison's calm voice across all frequencies. This is Captain Lisa Morrison of the United Earthship Phantom Runner. You are attacking a human colony under the protection of the Earth Defense Corps. Cease hostilities immediately and withdraw your forces. Crystal studied the human vessel through his ship's scanners. It was sleek and deadly looking, but significantly smaller than his flagship. 1 ship against 12 was still impossible odds. Human captain, he replied with forced confidence. You are outgunned and outnumbered. Surrender now, and I might allow your crew to live as slaves. Lisa Morrison's laughter echoed across the communication channel. War Chief, you've spent the last 4 hours learning what happens when someone underestimates humans. Are you really sure you want to make that mistake again? As if to punctuate her words, proximity alarms began screaming throughout the fleet. The space around their ships, which had appeared empty moments before, suddenly filled with objects that hadn't been there before. Asterisk. Mines, reported the Zephyrian tactical officer with dawning horror. Thousands of them. They were hidden with some kind of stealth technology. Were completely surrounded. The Phantom Runner had been busy during its 6-month wait in the asteroid belt. Lisa Morrison's crew had seeded the entire area around Kepler-4 for to be with advanced stealth mines, creating a trap that made Elena's planetary defenses look simple by comparison. Every one of those mines is connected to a quantum targeting system, Morrison explained helpfully. They're designed specifically to penetrate Zephyrian shields and armor. If I give the activation command, your entire fleet will be destroyed in approximately 30 seconds. On the planet's surface, Alina Vasquez received Morrison's signal and smiled with cold satisfaction. The orbital trap was complete. The Zephyrians were now caught between the anvil of human ground defenses and the hammer of the Phantom Runners. Minefield. All units, Alina broadcast to her forces. Phase 3 complete. Begin Phase 4. Show them what happens when you threaten human families. What followed wasn't a battle, it was a demonstration. The humans didn't simply defeat the Zephyrian invasion force. They dissected it with surgical precision. Every weapon system, every tactical formation, every piece of technology the reptilians brought to bear was countered by human ingenuity and preparation. The mining equipment that had seemed so primitive revealed additional capabilities. Ore crushers became projectile launchers. Chemical processing plants created custom gases that specifically targeted Zephyrian biology. Even the colony's waste management system had been weaponized, creating sewage-based explosives that were as humiliating as they were effective. But it was the humans themselves that proved most terrifying to the Zephyrian survivors. They fought with a combination of tactical brilliance and ruthless efficiency that no warrior species had ever displayed. Where Zephyrians relied on individual strength and aggression, humans used coordination and planning. Where reptilians expected honorable combat, humans delivered systematic destruction. Warchief Crystal watched his invasion force disintegrate. From orbit, unable to provide support without destroying his own troops, the humans had turned every advantage the Zephyrians possessed against them. Superior numbers meant nothing when the enemy controlled the battlefield. Advanced technology was useless when it couldn't be deployed effectively. Warchief, his second-in-command, approached carefully. Casualties are approaching 80%. If we don't withdraw soon, we'll lose the entire invasion force. Crystal's pride warred with tactical reality. The Zephyrian Empire had never retreated from a battle against an inferior species. But as another group of his warriors disappeared into the human killing ground, he finally accepted the truth that Alina Vasquez had known for 3 years. Humans weren't prey. They were apex predators who had learned to look like prey. All forces, he commanded, with bitter defeat, emergency withdrawal, abandon ground operations immediately. But even retreat proved more difficult than expected. The humans had anticipated this moment too. As Zephyrian forces tried to reach their extraction points, they found their paths blocked by obstacles that hadn't existed hours before. Mining tunnels that had seemed like simple excavations revealed themselves as a transportation network that allowed human forces to appear anywhere on the battlefield within minutes. Alina Vasquez emerged from her command bunker as the last Zephyr transport lifted off from the planet's surface. The alien ship was overcrowded with survivors, many of whom cast terrified glances back at the colony that had cost them so much. Commander Marcus Webb approached with a satisfied expression. Final casualty count. Zephyrian forces, 783 killed or wounded out of 800 initial troops. Human losses, for wounded, none seriously. The medical bay reports they'll all be back to duty within the week. Alina nodded with grim satisfaction. The numbers spoke for themselves, but statistics couldn't capture the real victory here. The Zephyrian Empire had encountered something they'd never seen before. Humans who were prepared to defend their home with every tool, weapon, and advantage their species could devise. In orbit, the Phantom Runner maintained its position as the battered Zephyrian fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace. Captain Morrison opened a final communication channel to War Chief Crystal's flagship. "War Chief," she said calmly, "I want you to deliver a message to your empire. Mining Colony Alpha isn't just a human settlement, it's a warning. Every human world, every human ship, every human family is protected by people like us. We don't start fights, but we always finish them." Crystal's response was barely a whisper. "What are you people?" Morrison smiled coldly. "We're humans, War Chief, and that's all you need to know." As the Zephyrian fleet jumped away from Kepler-4 for 2b, carrying news of their devastating defeat. Back to the Empire, Alina Vasquez stood in the colony's main square. Around her, the mining equipment was already transforming back to its peaceful purposes. The weapon systems folded away, the kill zones returned to simple work areas, and the deadliest trap in the galaxy resumed its disguise as a humble mining. "Colony, think they'll be back?" Jack Chen asked, finally understanding his true role in this elaborate deception. Alina shook her head. "Not them, but others will come eventually, and when they do, we'll be ready." The message that eventually reached the Zephyrian Empire's capital told a story that fundamentally changed how the galaxy viewed humanity. The species that had seemed weak and defenseless revealed themselves as something far more dangerous, intelligent. Predators who preferred to appear as prey until the moment they struck. War Chief Crystal's report became required reading at military academies across the Empire. Not as an example of tactical failure, but as a warning about the dangers of underestimating an enemy. The humans of Mining Colony Alpha had demonstrated something that would echo through galactic politics for generations. They had proven that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that doesn't look dangerous at all. Asterisk.